Good morning, fellow Martians. Today we are going to talk about the incredible edible, and we can't say that, it's probably copyrighted. We're going to talk about eggs. Eggs. It's going to be exciting. Stay tuned. Here are two options for eggs. One of them is your standard cardboard carton. This one I've actually cut down. It was a dozen, but I cut it. And as you consume them, you can cut this down and they take up less and less space. Or you can get one of these guys that holds the eggs. These little handles on little tabs that keep it closed. They have a habit of breaking, but anywho, I don't use this anymore. And now we're going to cover a third option that I am experimenting with. I have this camera locked into my paper towel holder above my cutting board. If it moves around too much or isn't perfect, I do apologize. But here we have eggs. Here we have a Ziploc bag. And we're going to store our eggs in a Ziploc bag. And we're putting the egg in. And we break the egg. And then we'll do two more. I have 3 eggs now, and you can't freeze these with the yolks intact, so don't worry about breaking them. But what I'm going to do is try to work out as much of this air as possible for now. And I will do that again before I'm done. I'll work more air out of it. But from here, then we're going to scramble them. And just lightly scramble them. They don't have to be perfect. If you have kids, you can get them to do this. I'm sure they get a kick out of that. But yeah, there's our eggs. And then we're gonna, I kind of went overboard a little bit on it. You can see we've got some egg residue all the way up into here. We'll actually, I'm gonna work that down, and I'm gonna let it work down. You see there's some air bubbles in there. And I will get all the air bubbles out of this. And then we're going to freeze it. Through the magic of time lapse, I give you 3 frozen eggs. And anybody watching this, you know I do the van life thing. And this way, this gives me a long-term storage for eggs. I have a 1-compartment freezer, and what happens is I can't control the temperature that well, and when I store my eggs in this, the shells end up breaking, and it just they freeze, the shells break, and turns into a mess. So now I'm freezing my eggs in Ziploc bags, and this one got squished into stuff. You can store them flat or whatever, but yeah, kind of any way you want to. You can sandwich them up and stack them up. The options are endless. What I've done now is the day before, I take the eggs that I want and I move them up to the top of my fridge freezer where it's not as cold, so they will start thawing right up near the lid. They'll start thawing, and then after that I'll take them and I'll soak them in cool water and we'll let them thaw. And these are still partway frozen, so we're just gonna let that do its thing. Now we've got our bag of eggs. Open these guys up. Pour them in. There we have it. We are cooking. I know keeping your eggs frozen and putting them in the bags, I know it is a little more work, and wow, it's cold in here. I can see my breath. Wow. But it is a little more work, and I know there will be people out there that aren't going to like the idea of using plastics, and that's not very environmental friendly, and all of these are true. But what I was running into is that I stopped carrying eggs because they kept breaking, either freezing and cracking or just in the container, driving around, whatever. I was having more broken eggs than usable ones. So this, it's an option, and I'm just putting it out here for other people. Something to consider. Talk to you later.